Hello, 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 and welcome to day 5 of our challenge. So I'm just going to check our feed really fast to make sure that we're streaming on both pages as we should be. And I just want to make sure things are going well. But how are you today? This is January the 3rd today. I just think it's awesome. And it's good to see what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down here because I just want to hop on over to our page and make sure things are up. Yep, we are up and we're live, so we're good to go. All right, so let's go ahead and get started into day 5. I want to thank you for those of you that are watching on our YouTube channel, those that are watching us on our Facebook page, those that are watching us on LinkedIn. We're going to go ahead and get started with our final session for today. I've had a great journey with you. By the way, if you're watching the replay, there's still time for you to watch that. So I will keep things available for a while. And if those of you that are interested in joining us in Nurse Shark Academy, don't forget that we do have that available as well. We'll talk about more about that at the end. But let's go ahead and share the screen. And share my window. All right, and we'll get started. So, welcome to day 5 of our Come Feel the Sun Nurse Entrepreneurship Challenge. I'm excited to be here. I'm Tina Baxter with the Nurse Shark Academy. So, let's talk about session 5, which is scaling and sustaining financial growth strategies for long term success as a nurse entrepreneur. So I want to do a bit of a recap of the first 4 days so that those of you who may be joining us on our 5th day, you kind of know what was there so you can go back and watch the replays for those other days. But we did talk about having a plan for your business, your naming and branding, getting things trademarked appropriately, your financial plan, and how to look at getting capital for your business. We talked about marketing. We talked about your policies, procedures, your systems that you want to get in place. Human resources, we discussed about making sure that you have a proper onboarding and a system for your new employees, and then how to retain your employees and keep them. And then accounting, we talked about how to make sure that you have a system in place so that you get your payroll done, etc. And then having a business growth plan is what we're going to focus on today. And then you want to include your success team. You want to get a good CPA or an accountant to work with you. You want to get legal representation and advisors that may help you if you have an advisory board or board of directors if you're doing a nonprofit, or maybe you have a group of business leaders that you can count on and call on, that you can talk to, or coaches or mentors, and then some logistics with your location, where you're going to open up your business. Is it going to be a home-based business, or do you need to have a location? And then how do you establish your vendor contract? So we hit on some of those things on the last 4 days. We also talked about your offer. What problems do you solve for your clients or your customers? What service or product do you provide? And what makes you different from your competition? And so those are some of the questions that we considered for the last few days. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't had a chance to do your homework, go back and watch the replays, take some of the information, and develop that. And then also why scaling matters, the importance of growth. So we want to talk about that. We're ready to scale your business, to grow your business. Once you get launched, now you have to expand your impact and your reach. You also want to increase your revenue and profit potential. And so you'll look for new opportunities in the marketplace that maybe you can put in some innovation. Maybe you can add a new stream. Maybe you can, do a research with your customers and ask your customer base about what's missing and what they would like to see that you offer. And then it ensures long-term sustainability. So, for example, a legal nurse consultant may consider expanding her services to include expert witness training, so that you train individuals on how to be effective expert witnesses. So if that is your business, you may add some of those things to your repertoire. You may look at adding additional training. If you're a training school, you're teaching CPR, maybe now you can add in, you're doing advanced cardiac life support, or maybe you can add in another health education topic. So those are just some things to think about. What can you do to further the growth of your company? So I'm encourage you to plot your business path today. Develop those first steps to grow your business, and then look for those opportunities again for innovation. Where is it something that you can come in? I think about how, and everybody probably is familiar with the Netflix story, how Netflix came in and originally they were sending you DVDs to your home. I know people remember that, but Netflix would send you DVDs to your home that you can drop in the mail and send back to them, and you didn't have to drive to the DVD store. And so think about that, how that changed the market to where now most of the shows that we watch are coming on streaming platforms. Or how everyone, if you wanted to watch the other networks, not the main five that we had, but the other networks, you would have to purchase cable. Now, really, a lot of cable systems are getting away from offering cable television and are focusing on internet or other options because streaming has taken over. And so now the individual stations, the broadcast networks, are now offering their own streaming services and producing their own shows there. And so you can see how things have grown and changed, is looking for those opportunities for innovation. And it started with Netflix coming in and saying, hey, you know what? Wouldn't you like to just get the movies that you want to watch in the comfort of your own home without having to go to the video store and hope and pray that what you wanted to see was in stock? And so their promise was kind of like, we'd have what the movies that you want to see at all times, and all you had to do was just mail it back in. And now it's all you have to do is sit there on your smart TV or on your laptop and go to the app and download the movie that you want to see right then and there without having to worry about returning it to a video store, paying fees and things like that. The innovation that you can have. And so looking at your current business and what you're doing, maybe it's that time that you might have to add in something new or change how you do something or see what's happening on the horizon. I think about the company Sears and Roebuck. And of course, this is dating me because, it's now Sears. It was Sears. And when they started out a long time ago, they were the mail order company. You would get this big dynamic book, your ginormous book, right? It's a huge book. And in the book, you would go through and you could find just about anything you'd want for your household, from clothing to pre-manufactured homes, tools, lawnmowers, whatever you needed, you would get out of the Sears catalog. And then, of course, every December, all the kids would love to get it because you would get the toy section. So you can mark it with your marker for whatever you wanted to ask Santa or your parents for Christmas. And so Sears was the original Amazon type store. But where they missed the market innovation is that they were very slow to the online market. And they started to close some of their brick and mortar stores because now people are buying more online. And I think had they had the foresight to go back to their roots of mail order marketing and mail order buying, they might have survived a lot better. And so Amazon came in and took a big chunk out of that marketplace. And then you also had places like Walmart that did the same. And so you saw the downfall of Sears. And this, again, they were the original mail order company where you could put in a mail order and they would ship you the materials to build your own home. And so look for those areas of innovation. Where is the market changing? Where are the tastes going? Maybe they decided they want something different. Okay? So you need to recognize when to scale and when's the right time. So here are some of those clues for you. Consistent demand. People are asking for your services or for your products. Regular inquiries. Requests exceed your current capacity. Things are going well and you're getting more business in than you can handle. It may be time to expand. Financial stability. Your revenue covers the expenses with a clear profit margin, where you're seeing that the money is coming in and you're able to not only meet your expenses, but you're also making a profit. It may be time for you to grow. Operational efficiency, smooth workflows, and strong team support. And I have to say, there's a lot of times where we miss the bucket on this one, is because we haven't gone through and looked at our processes and seeing what works, what doesn't work, how can we improve, smoothing things out, getting it out of our heads, and training our team so that they can do what they do best. And then market opportunity, identifying underserved niches or unmet needs. So, for example, a CPR instructor noticing increasing requests for corporate training sessions. And so, when going back to the example that I gave earlier this week, during the pandemic, I saw that a lot of the hospitals were not offering CPR training for their nurses or for the lay public. You still had school teachers that had to have their training. You still had daycare owners. You still had foster parents that needed their training. And so I chose to stay open, offering more classes and making a smaller class size so that I can accommodate the needs of those that needed their CPR training. So you need to look and see what the trends are. One of the reasons why I reopened my CNA training school was because I recognize with the new federal mandates that may or may not come to fruition, the writing is on the wall. Nursing homes and assisted living still need staff. Home care still needs staff. There's a nursing shortage. There needs to be more staff. So how can we best do that? By training the staff for the next generation. The other thing that you have to remember is you have to remain flexible, which is what I call that other F word, right? This is a quote from Don Yeager's book, The 16 Characteristics of True Champions. And I really love this quote, and this is one of the reasons why I put this in here. Because he says, the real world is constantly changing. The real world doesn't care what you want or what you are good at. The only thing you can do is take life as it comes and adjust as needed. If you're willing to be flexible and adapt to changing circumstances, those circumstances will seem a whole lot less daunting. Embrace change and stay open-minded about making adjustments. That's what the great ones do. Oftentimes we have someone coming in with a fresh perspective and you'll hear things in a very stagnant company. Well, that's not how we do things, or we've always done things that way. And I have to say, I talked to a lot of entrepreneurs during the pandemic, and early on, the most common thing I heard was, I prefer in-person meetings. I'm not used to talking to people on tiny boxes on Zoom or whatever else. And so I think we've come a long way to where we recognize, hey, I've got to come up with the times. I've got to be flexible. And so people were then more open to meeting on Google Meets and Zoom and wherever else you meet. And I think it's interesting how Zoom has grown in their market share because they recognize, hey, the world is shut down and people want to talk to each other. People want to meet with each other. People need that connection. I remember I was watching something during the pandemic and the cast of the movie Pitch Perfect came together and was singing on Zoom, and they put it out there like for a Christmas thing or something. And I thought, that's amazing that people can sit there and sing and harmonize over Zoom and it makes sense. So again, we've learned so much, and now we have these wonderful global events that can happen, and I can talk to people from all over the world. I remember I had a conversation with a gentleman from Greece. I never would have met this man pre-COVID. People weren't wanting to get on social media or get on a video call prior to that as much. But now, because of a social media platform we were paired together, and I met this executive from Greece. And I just thought, this is amazing that I can talk to people from all over the world. I was in a networking meeting, And one of the participants was from Australia. And she has a wonderful product that I purchased because I'm like, hey, this is great. She made a keeper for your pillow. And so during that time, I got to meet so many great people and connect with them. I've had people from Florida, just, in the US, people from coast to coast. I met with people in India. So being flexible, because your who may not be just tied to a geographical region. Once you get your business started, you may be expanding outside of your geographical region. The other thing is that you need to be persistent. This is a quote from Rachel Hollis in her book, Girl, Wash Your Face. And I happened to be reading this book a couple years ago with a ladies group, entrepreneurial group that I was with the company. And we were reading one of these books is one of on our reading list. And she says, what to do when that voice of authority tells you no. And that voice could be your parent, your spouse, your current supervisor or boss. It could be that internal voice in your head that tells you no. She says, the answer is you find another way. Your dream is worth fighting for. And while you're not in control of what life throws at you, you are in control of the fight. How will you fight for your dream today? How will you fight for your business? And so, being persistent and not taking no for an answer. And I'll give you an example from my own life. When I was in high school, I realized that I was going to go to college soon. And up until then, my mother typed all of my papers. Now, back in the day in our college, if you were in college, you had two tracks. You had the technical track or the pre-college track, the college-bound track. I was in the college-bound track. The technical track had things like shorthand. This is stuff that, again, I'm dating myself, but shorthand, dictation, typing. You weren't taught this in the pre-college track. But I recognized that, hey, things are going to be on the computer. I won't have my mom to type my papers, and I don't want to pay somebody to do something that I could do myself. So I opted to take typing. But I had to petition the school. Initially, they said, no, that's for the technical tracking. You can't take that class. And I said, no, I need to take typing. And so I had to go to my counselor, go to the principal, petition the school to have them put me in that class, get permission from my parents to take typing. Because I knew mom's not going with me to college to type all of my papers. And my major was biology. So I knew there was going to be a whole lot of papers that I was going to have to write. I say that to say, I am so glad I was persistent, because what do I do now today? I write and type all the time. As a nurse practitioner, I'm on the computer. Everything's computerized now. I'm typing away. I come home, I'm working on my book or working on a blog or writing emails. I'm always typing and using my fingers for this. Now, you can do Dragon and all those kind of products where you do the voice text. But I type a lot faster because I took the class to pass typing, which, by the way, you had to type 80 words per minute without mistakes in order to pass. And I passed the class. Can I do that now? Probably not. But I did that. And I say that don't take no for an answer. Find another way. Your dream is worth fighting for. I didn't know where technology was going to be today. I had no idea, no clue. But I knew that I needed to learn to type because I needed to type for myself. So there may be something that you see on the horizon that you don't know how you're going to use it later, but you know you need to fight for it. Be persistent. Face your fears and take action. It takes gumption. Maybe you're afraid to pull the trigger because what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it does? And that can be as terrifying. But face your fears. What's holding you back? Identify those things and take action. Start with one thing at a time. Do the time. Instant success is a fantasy. Everyone had to start somewhere. Invest in yourself and your company. I cannot say that enough. Do your time, do the things that you need to do. Um, the days of, you start to have one idea and it takes off and you're doing well and everything works out forever. Instant success is a fantasy. It may seem like it, and there'll be people that get on TikTok and Instagram and say, yeah, I did it and I made $1 billion doing this, and that's great and that's fine. But I tell you, they probably started small. You can look at what happened with Bill Gates. You can look at Steve Jobs. They didn't start out with $1 billion companies. They started doing one thing at a time, working in their garage, working with a small company, growing, mastering their craft, putting in the time and the homework, the late nights, whatever they needed to do. You need to do the time. This isn't something that you're going to put in a key in a lock and everything's just going to come out perfectly. You will have some growing pains. But be willing to invest in yourself and in your company. And then learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. They're going to happen. That's okay. That's okay. I don't, I learned so much from when I stubbed my toe, when something didn't work out. I made a mistake. I learned from that. And so each time I take away those lessons, and I learn a lot more sometimes from my failures than I do from my wins. And it's true. One of the things I noticed when I became a nurse, I was a brand new nurse, and I'll never forget this. I learned a lot from my first boss by learning what not to do as a boss. She was such a horrible boss that I learned what not to do when I got the chance to be a supervisor and be a boss. I was like, I'm not going to be that. I knew what good leadership was because I saw the opposite. And I have to say, she was a terrible boss. She got demoted, and they recognized she was a terrible boss. So it wasn't just me. But I remember that and how negative she was, how she pitted people against each other. She would not tell the truth. She'd tell you to do something and later have amnesia as if she never said it, to the point that I insisted that if she wanted me to do something, I needed it in writing. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do it. So again, learn from your mistakes. Maybe you stubbed your toe. Maybe you started a business and it was kind of rocky. Maybe you missed an important step. Go back, learn from those mistakes, correct those mistakes, and move forward. So methods to expand your business: diversify your services. Add complementary offerings to your current lineup. So, for example, a CNA training school introducing advanced caregiver certification courses. So now you're not only training the CNAs, but you're training the family caregivers at home as well. And you can add those things to your repertoire. One of the things that I did, I started out on my entrepreneurship journey, I started out teaching CPR classes. When I recognized that those CPR classes were providing a steady second income, now I'm not talking about like big money, but it was helping me to pay for the things I needed to, right? I was a broke college student. I started adding in corporate classes and saying, hey, I'll come to you and teach the class on your site. Then later on, when I had started my business with my partners, I added TB training classes because I'm like, this is something that people need. I can add the classes and then expand my business. And so these are things that you can do. Look for ways to expand and diversify your services so that you can meet the need of your customers, because you want them coming back to you to meet their needs. This also may be the time to increase your team size. So maybe hire qualified staff to handle your growing demand. One of the things that I did is for CNA training school, I made sure I hired an instructor to do the clinicals for me, because I knew I couldn't do it. I'm very busy. I have other things that I do. I still have a large patient load. So I wanted to make sure that my students had the best in the teaching and had someone who could be accessible and available to them. And I could just oversee things. So employing additional trainers for your programs. Maybe you need to get an additional CPR instructor so you can hold bigger classes. Maybe you need to train someone to help teach your CNA classes. Maybe you need to teach another nurse to be a legal nurse consultant so she can do your chronologies for you. These are all different ways that you can scale your business when you're ready for this. And then leverage technology. Use software to streamline operations and reach broader audiences. So you can launch an online platform for remote certification classes. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to do for my next class that's coming up. I'm going to offer this. Part one will be online, and part two will be in person, so that they get a chance to have that online experience. And if they want to further go on, then they can take a part two and get additional experience. I used the technology when we started having more staff members working for our business. It was hard to keep up with timesheets, paper timesheets, and things like that. And so I implemented a computerized system where all they had to do was clock in and clock out. It calculated their time. I didn't have to do that manually. And as a person who used to do that when I worked at the hospital before they went to electronic timing, I had to sit there on a Saturday every other week and calculate everyone's payroll from their time cards. It was a lot. So I'm encouraging you to look at technology that can help your business. Maybe you can find a new custom relationship manager system so that you can keep in contact with your customers. Maybe you can build a better website. Maybe you can use automation and artificial intelligence to help you move things along. Whatever it is that you can do, look for new technology. One of the things that I did is that I looked for the technology for my podcast. I wanted to find out which podcast system I would like to use. And as they expand, I expand. And then for partnerships, collaborate with organizations to co host programs or share resources. For example, you can partner with local hospitals to offer employee training. Or, you can work with another nurse trainer out there, and maybe you can exhibit at an event so that you can get your ideas and your products out there in front of people. So be open to forming collaborative relationships. I'm in a Facebook group for podcasters, and someone has asked me to be a speaker on her summit. So I'm going to be on her summit to speak about health and wellness. And so, foster those relationships. This is a way to get your name out, and also you can give back to that person by supporting them. Don't be the person that wants to hold everything in, and as they call it, the gatekeeper. So I try not to gatekeep things from people. I share freely because people share freely with me, and it's that exchange to help both of us grow. I always look for the win-win. Financial planning, again, you're going to manage your money while scaling. So you're going to reinvest your profits. As your profits go up, reinvest it into your company. Allocate earnings toward the new projects or resources. So maybe you'll use your profits to upgrade your training equipment. And one of the things that with my podcast, as more things come in with the podcast, I'm going to be upgrading some of my equipment. One of the things I just did is I just bought these new headphones. I've tried several different kind of more expensive stuff, and I just didn't like those. So I went back to the headphones that I know and love. Seek funding options. Maybe it's time to explore grants or loans or investors for expansion. So you may want to apply for a small business grant tailored to healthcare entrepreneurs. There's a wonderful organization in our city that provides small business loans, particularly to startups, to really help you get started. And then monitor cash flow, ensure consistent income to cover new expenses. So, for example, set aside that money for those big expenditures that you may have come up, but use accounting software to track revenue and expenses. Those are some of the things that I did, as I made sure that I had some way of seeing where our revenue and expenses were coming in. And then prepare for risks, build an emergency fund to manage unexpected challenges, because it may happen. You may have to buy new equipment. Unfortunately, your stuff may get stolen, or you have a break-in, or there's a natural disaster, or something could happen you get a virus on your computer, you need a new one. All these things can happen. You need to invest in those resources and prepare for emergencies. Or a pandemic can happen and you have to shut down for a while. You just never know. So ensure growth without Compromise. Standardize your processes. Create clear workflows to maintain quality as you grow. We talked about yesterday how you can go to any McDonald's in the US and the burgers are going to pretty much taste the same. It's that consistency, that standardized process. So develop a training manual for new hires so that they know, hey, this is how we put the information in to the system so that we get the outcome that we want. These are the parameters for creating the product that we have. This is how we introduce ourselves and greet our residents or greet our guests when they come to see us. Put those processes in a training manual. Automate tasks as you can. Use tools to save time on repetitive tasks. Like, for example, using scheduling software for managing class registrations. One of the best things I did for the training school was to build my own website so that I can have people sign up for training classes. Previously, I would have classes out on Eventbrite and classes out on um, the website from like the American Heart Association, et cetera, which I still do. But I point them to my own website so that they can pay there. It makes it easier for them. I can see who's coming. I can manage the class, cancel the class if I need to. I automate things. They get emails that says, hey, you're registered. This is where the class is. This is what you need to bring. This is what you need to do. It's all automated so that I don't have to keep writing the email every time someone comes in. And originally, that is what I had to do with the old system. As soon as someone signed up, then I have to email them and say, I'm going to send you an invoice. Let's invoice you and pay your invoice and all that. So now it's automated and they get the information automatically. And then you want to maintain quality. Regularly review services to ensure they meet client expectations. So you might want to send feedback surveys to students. And so for our first CNA training class that we had with this particular school system, that was one of the things I made sure we do. Everyone, hey, fill out a survey because I want to know how can we improve our training the next time. And so you may have to do that as well. Find out how you can improve your process so that you can meet your customers' expectations and wow them. You also may want to target new audiences, adjust marketing to appeal to different segments. So creating ads for corporate clients in addition to individual nurses. And that's one of the things that I do, depending on who I'm talking to. So for example, because I offer training classes and education, I often will let the corporate clients know, hey, I can come to you. I can do a big training with all of your people. If you want to get it done in one day, we can break it up into several small sessions. How do you want to do this? How do you want to be billed? I target that, my marketing, to the audience that I'm speaking to. So for corporate clients, they may see something a little bit differently than I will for the average nurse who's just looking for a class because she's got a travel contract and she just wants to get on the road. So I want to make sure that I'm targeting my audiences effectively. This might be the time that you invest in paid campaigns. So you may scale up your social media and Google ad budgets for higher visibility. So you may run a paid campaign highlighting your new online course offerings. And so I often do that when I have a new offering. I start with it I may put in a paid campaign for a few weeks just to make sure that people are aware, hey, we've got something new coming on the horizon and you may want to sign up. This is also how I got to some of you, as I had a paid ad running on Facebook just saying, hey, by the way, we're having this challenge. It's free. Sign up for the challenge. Come in and learn about starting your nurse-owned business. And then you may want to leverage testimonials, showcase success stories to build credibility and attract clients. And that's some of the things that I've done here. With my podcast, I talk to my guests, and some of my guests have actually been clients of mine. And so I showed you one of my clients. Actually, she was one of my first clients. And I showed you on day 1 or 2, I showed her testimonial and her video spot from being on the podcast and about her opening her business. So you may want to have, your best clients go ahead and do a promotion for you. I did this for one of my coaches, is that she had us do 5-minute spots, or 5 minutes, 60-second spots is what it was, just talking about what we gained from her program. And we had those testimonials. So long-term success strategies, you want to adapt to the market. Remember, change is constant, so stay informed about trends and adjust your offerings. So you can incorporate AI-based tools for training for telehealth nurses. Just one of the things you can offer, just some suggestions. How can you use AI to further your business and not take over everything, but also to help you with that? And so I was not in favor of AI early on. Okay, admitted I'm Gen Xer, grew up with watching Terminator, right? And so I was leery to incorporate AI into anything because my philosophy is organic is better. But having used some of the technology and I found out how best to use it, it has been very helpful to me, and I use it on a limited basis. And so you may have to adapt and learn new things as well, and look for innovation that you can incorporate in what you're doing. You want to foster client relationships. You want to build loyalty through excellent customer service and engagement. This is one of the things that I struggled with in my first business, is that sometimes I felt as if we weren't always giving our best customer service that we could. I always said you thought we could do better. We can, over deliver. I wanted to do something to consistently meet their needs and to give them more than what they wanted. So I always try to add in more content, more help, more suggestions so that they can be successful. And so I'm encouraging you to do that. Foster those relationships. Send them a card on their birthday. Find out when their wedding anniversary is. Send them regular updates about what you're doing. I have a newsletter just to let people know, hey, these are the new podcast episodes coming out. Here's the new blog post that's coming out. I've got a new event happening, just to stay in touch and stay top of mind. And you might consider offering discounts for returning clients or referrals. So oftentimes I'll say, hey, if you give me a referral, I'll give you a fee back, or a stipend, or a gift, or a token, or something. And so for my podcast guests, I thank them for coming on. I thank them for sharing the podcast, and I give them a free download of my book. So these are some of the things that I do just to keep that relationship going. And then I sometimes will have a follow-up. I actually have a follow-up call scheduled from a previous podcast guest, because I said, hey, we need to catch up. What's happening in your world? And then you want to innovate, continuously innovate. Regularly introduce new ideas and improvements. So you want to maybe host an annual workshops on emerging healthcare trends and things change. And one of the things that we've been talking a lot about, and I just was speaking about this today in a training that I had at an assisted living, and I said, hey, you know what? There's a lot of nurses out there. We're dealing with people who have chronic mental illness. There's been a rise in incidents of aggression against nurses and nursing staff. Let's develop a training to address that very issue. So I want you to apply what you've learned in this session and in the previous sessions. So identify one service or product you could expand, whether it's a training that you're offering, or maybe you're adding something to your legal nurse consulting business. Look at what you can offer. So like with Sylvia, in Sylvia's story, if you remember her story, she talked about, she started out doing the case reviews, the chronologies, etc., but she didn't find that as fun as when she discovered defense medical exams, and then she really took off with that. And she took that product, she expanded it. Now she's reaching across the state of California. She's got other nurses working for her, and her business has been really growing. She is phenomenal. She's one of my colleagues. I love talking to Sylvia. And so these are some of the things that you may look at. Maybe you can expand your service line and add another product or service. And then outline the steps you need to scale this offering. So one of the things that I did is I took back some of the trainings that I was doing and innovations, and I said, okay, let's look at this, make this more innovative. And I decided to take what was that master class, which is an in-person master class. I changed that to an online platform so that you can take it whenever you want to, however you want to. It's there for you. You don't have to do it in person. You can do it at your own speed and at your own time. And then share your plan with the group for feedback. Don't forget to get feedback from your team. Also share it in maybe some of your clients or customers, and get a test audience and say, hey, If you come in and be a part of this, I'll make you my beta testers. You get to come in for a discounted price or even complimentary and tell me what you like about it, what needs fixed, what needs, shored up, what additional information. Use that so they can get feedback before you launch your next service. Think big and act boldly. Growth isn't just about getting bigger, it's about getting better. Take the first step today to scale your impact and success. Don't forget to think about how you can improve and think about not just getting bigger and offering more of the same, but how you can offer more to meet the needs of your customers so that when they come back, they're coming to you. Begin implementing your scaling strategies and then celebrate every milestone. And this is something we don't do often enough. Celebrate as you meet those milestones on your business plan that you develop, because again, it's a living, breathing document. You go back and you add new things. You take out the things that don't work anymore and you revamp things that you move forward in your plan. I want you to believe in yourself. And so this concludes most of the content for today. We're going to talk about how you can take your next steps and sign up with the Nurse Academy. So just a reminder, our mission and our vision and mission, my vision is for nurses to reclaim the love they have for their profession. I saw so many statistics that said nurses were leaving the profession and going to do other things. And I thought, I don't want you to have to leave the profession. If you love nursing, and maybe you're not physically or emotionally able to be at the bedside anymore, what can you do with your nursing skills and bring that to the marketplace as an entrepreneur? Find another way. It may be just changing specialties. It may be just doing, learning something new, maybe getting to a new environment, a new hospital, a new agency. But oftentimes that doesn't fix the problem. Or maybe you're not able to work as often. You can't do the 12-hour shifts anymore. How can you still use those skills that you have, but do it in a different way and honor that nursing heritage that you have? So don't leave your profession, leave your job. And so my mission is for you to own your seat at the table of nurse entrepreneurship, gaining confidence, skills, and the freedom to live your life on your own terms. You will dream big and expand your consciousness as an entrepreneur, as a member of the Nurse Academy. So my first invitation is for those of you that are ready to get started. You're like, okay, I need a little bit of help, but I want to get started. I want someone to be there to ask questions of, to help me along the journey. The 60-day micro mastermind intensive may be just for you. This gives you a chance to participate in the group coaching sessions. You get 2 one-on-one coaching sessions as individual sessions with me, business builder templates so that you have all the templates that you need to build your business. You get the core curriculum videos and the Jumpstart Nursing Biz training. And I'm offering that for 10 slots. So 10 people who sign up and do it during this challenge, you use the promo code KINGDOM, you get into the program for $297. Normally it's $397. And so after this week, it's going to go back up to $397. But you also, if you become a member, you become a subscriber, if you become one of the family, as I like to say, I'm going to throw open the doors to you. So not only will you get the mini micro mastermind, but you'll also get the Nurse Academy Masterclass video training with our newly expanded curriculum with the He, Me, We framework. That integrative framework where we bring our complete selves into our business. With our 6 sessions, which is valued at $497. And then you get a copy of our ebook, which is available for $599. I also threw in this bonus of a training on legal pitfalls to avoid in small businesses. And so one of the things that, we do is not setting up the right business structure, not having an adequate partnership agreement, not putting in the processes that we need or talking to an attorney about certain things and entering into vendor contracts without having someone look at them. And then using social media to grow your business. What social media do you want to use? Protecting your reputation on social media, which is very important and critical. I had a friend of mine who has a business, and she had some conflict with one of her staff members, and it got onto Facebook on social media. And so she's on social media just cursing this woman out, and that looks bad for her as a business owner. And so let's talk about some of those things. And then ads on social media, and then live events and what you want to do with those. So that's valued at 99. We'll also put in our Freedom Finance workshop, where we'll talk more about how to raise funds for your business, how to take care of that. So you may be a bootstrapper, and what does that mean? And how can you bootstrap your business? It may be that you're looking to get a business loan or ask for someone to invest in your business. So we talk about those very things in our Freedom Finance workshop. So you can be a member of the Nurse Shark Academy. We call it our Pathway to Freedom membership, and you'll get the 6-session business boner course with the membership. You'll get the Nurse Entrepreneurship book. You'll get the coaching sessions, and I'll add in a bonus of another coaching session for you. And so if you become a member, you get 3 coaching sessions. You get 2 in the mini micro mastermind if you want to do that, or you can become a member and you'll get a 3rd bonus one-on-one session with me. Legal pitfalls course. You'll also get the social media course and the financial freedom course. And of course, you'll get, and it says 30-day here, but it should say 60-day micro mastermind intensive. So altogether, that's valued at over $2,000. But you can pay for all the bonuses separately, or you can become a member and get access to all the bonuses, and you can get that down today for $397 now. All right. So that's all our information. I want to thank you for tuning in. Let me go ahead and stop the share. And I'm trying. There we go. All right. So I want to thank you for being here. Don't forget to sign up at the nurseSharkAcademy.biz to join us. This has been a wonderful 5 days. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow, if you want to get started, we have our legal nurse consulting training coming up. So our legal nurse consulting basics training is actually tomorrow, and you can sign up for that at the nurseSharkAcademy.biz. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And I want to thank you for your time. If you're catching the replays, don't worry. You still have access to all the bonuses and everything as long as you sign up within this time frame by tomorrow. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everyone. If are there any questions before we sign off? Are there any questions? If you have any, just go ahead and put them in the chat, in the comments. All right. Well, thank you, and see you next time.